Abhijat,
Hi Srikanth, very good evening.
very good evening, Abhijat. How are you?
I'm good. It's Abhijat. Just
Sorry, I'm sorry. I
it's
I
fine, it's
got
fine.
used to this Abhijat, so I
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
get myself tuned to Abhijat.
That's more common,
How
yeah.
do people normally call you?
Yeah, most of the first timers they call me Abhijit.
Okay. So how has your week started, Abhijat, for you?
The week has been quite good, pretty much as per plan. I believe in planning my week and things are so far perfect.
Some fantastic. Okay, Abhijat, we have about 30 to 35 minutes outer limit.
Hmm,
There are about more than 40 people watching us having
that's
this
fine.
conversation. I want to let you know that this will most likely remain confidential within this group because it's a very close group. And when I ask questions, if you're uncomfortable responding to questions, please put your hand up and say, I will understand. In the meanwhile, if I get a feel that um, we are going all over the place, I may also just put my hand up and pause and get the conversation on track.
Hmm,
Okay.
sure.
So in the time we have together, what is that you would like to explore?
Yeah. I want to discuss something very interesting which happened a couple of weeks back. In fact, the thing happened more than a decade back, but I realized it. It's sort of a little bit funny. So I'll share the background. Maybe that will make more sense and what happened. So this incident is of around 2011 when me and my batchmates, we were just out of college and all of us were most of us were in our first jobs and we were getting married one by one. So I was still a bachelor at that time and one of our batchmates was getting married. And so two of us, me and one of my batchmates, we had planned to go to attend the wedding together. Somehow something came up, some official commitment came up, so I couldn't go. And I told this person, yeah, I'll not be able to go. You please travel and I'll apologize to this person separately. So he said, fine. So the funny, little bit striking thing is he kept calling me multiple times. How are we going to manage the gift? How are I found that little odd, and but since he called me two, three times for that, I said, okay, fine. Since you are going, you give a gift on both of us behalf, and we'll share the money. And I told him my budget. See, my budget is around 1,500, and that's so he attended the wedding. Then he post the wedding. He calls me and tells me, you have to pay me 2,100. I mean, nothing major about it, but still, that time something stuck me. Ki 1,500 and he's asking me for 2,100. But I did not pay too much thought to it, and I just paid the money and forgot about it. I took his bank account number, and so that's the story ends there. 2011. Now the funny thing, I was just going through Facebook and reflecting some of the old pictures and all, and suddenly it struck me suddenly that what actually happened is that he gave a gift of 2,100 rupees only and he took the complete amount from me. So the question which I have been in a bit of a dilemma is now, if I come across I mean, we have not been in touch very only through LinkedIn and Facebook. Apart from that, he has moved on in his life, I have moved on in my life. So sporadically we are touch, but in case I come across, it's a small world and we come across again in future, what should be my approach towards him?
So Abhijat, I'm hearing you share an event that got triggered for you more than a decade ago by going through a recent post on social media. Right now, there's a question in your mind. What should be the approach?
Hmm.
How are you feeling right now while you are sharing this with me?
Hmm. Of course, as a and of course, this incident has not really gone down very well with me. I mean, even though I'm realizing it, and it's sort of funny, and I'm asking myself, "Ki, why did it take me so many years to realize this thing?" But of course, this has not gone down very well with me. I mean, and I'm question, yaar, for 500-600 rupees, how can chalo, let's say it's more than a decade back, 500 rupees was worth, let's say 2000 rupees. For 1500, 2000 rupees, how can someone make up and to your batchmate? And we were close friends. So of course, it's not very good feeling as far as this individual's conduct is concerned. Then there is one more just thought coming that, which is more of, I'll say, a practical thought that array, it's more than a decade. He did something, and 99% this individual would have also forgotten about all that. It's just that by chance I remember somehow. So I mean, in case I bump across him, should I let it? Should I just forget and move on? And so it's a sort of a multiple thought.
I heard you say this has not gone down well with me
Hmm.
a couple of times.
Hmm.
What does that really mean to you?
Sorry.
What does that really mean to you?
Hmm. 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 I mean, I am myself a person who is very, very firm on his ethics on monetary aspects for sure. I can maybe, once this realization happened to me, I did a fair amount of thinking and I tried to place myself in his shoes. I tried to rationalize his conduct. So one incident which came to my mind that sorry if I'm going into a little bit of stories, but one incident that once I was returning from airport from a business trip and I bump across one of my old friends and we were sharing the same route. So we shared the cab and he forced me, no, we are sharing, please take 500 rupees. And he forced me to take 500 rupees. I couldn't say no in front of the driver. But later on, I messaged him and said, sir, this was a business trip. My fare is getting reimbursed by the company. So please, I'm Google paying you your 500 rupees back. No need to pay. If I wanted, I could have easily kept that 500 rupees, but I can't do that. So, I mean, it's difficult for me to rationalize. I mean, and we were quite good friends. We were in the same project group during our MBA, same project group. So we had a very decent rapport. And one important thing is this was this person whom I'm talking about, one of the brightest students of our batch, and he was the day day one placement during summers, day one placement during finals. He got placed in the best, and even today he's doing really well as a professional. I mean, I am somehow failing to rationalize this, this conduct.
Abhijat, from these two incidents that you have shared with me so far, I am getting the sense
Hmm.
there's perhaps some core value which is being challenged for you? I heard you mention about ethics around money.
Hmm.
What's going on?
I mean, see, generally, I am the sort of person who always tries to look from other side's perspective. And being an HR, that sort of becomes a part of your nature. Okay, maybe you never know what the situation on the other side is. And really, I have done all that in this, but somehow I can't rationalize this. And I always tend to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there is some blind spot which I am not aware, but everything I can't find any reason which and for me personally, this integrity is very important. Either at least, okay, there are practical situations in life in which sometimes you don't always tell the truth, but your end motive is noble. Sometimes it is a practical. I don't need to get into the situations like this, but it is. But here, I mean, what is the end goal? You are just taking advantage of a situation. I mean, you know that I am not going to ask you for that gifts bill. You know that I am not going to call that person and check what exactly the gift you received. Basically, you just took advantage of the situation, right? I even question myself, ki, is maybe some problem in my understanding. Is it possible that he actually gave a gift of 4200, which I assumed initially? But no, my gut is very clearly telling me, and no, that's not the reason. And he did take advantage of the situation. And yeah, I mean, so if I come back to this dilemma, which ठीक है, what he did fine. The dilemma which I have is what should be my approach towards him. I'm really um, because one is a practical side that which tells me it's very old. Then you need to maintain your contacts. It's a small world. You never know when you need anybody. And then there is one more side which tells me that what happens. I mean, the basic character of a person doesn't change until and unless there is some life defining situation, which is an exception. Let us leave that aside. But so he did for say 500-600 rupees tomorrow, he will do for 5 lakh rupees today. So honestly, it's right now it's a little bit of a muddle.
So I heard this word integrity seems to be very close to you. I also heard you say that my gut tells me I'm right.
Hmm.
What makes you believe that your gut is right?
The kind of voice which I'm getting from within, and the my previous experience with my gut. And in fact, I am sort of mildly kicking myself also, because as I said, when he I still remember the phone. He said you need to pay 2100 rupees. There was a something clicked within me. Could sense there is something wrong. Why didn't I listen to my inner voice at that time? But okay, we were just freshers out of college. I'm sort of rationalizing, and and there was a belief, sort of a belief within me at that time. which with experience has got diluted. There was a belief that since I used to hold this person in very high regard, he was one of the, I'll say, the brightest of our kids. So something told me, yaar, such a guy can never do such a thing for some 500-600 bucks. So those sort of voices silenced the inner gut at that time. But to answer your question, yes, I know the kind of feelings I get from within when I listen to my gut, and it is very clear that it's not wrong.
Right now, if you have to ask your gut, what is the approach that you should take towards your friend? What is the answer you're getting?
I mean, somehow I can't fully say that this is the voice from gut or not, but the feeling which I am getting, that's let there be so many years, let all the practical considerations aside, this is not worth it. But then there are so many practical, I don't know what to call, but I tend to call them practical thoughts, that there are so many kinds of individuals in the world, and um, I mean, generally it will be very difficult to find if I start looking for a 100% value match in everyone. It will be very difficult to find. So if I start cutting off with everyone, then probably I'll be left with no one. I am myself sort of um, finding this funny, but this is what it is.
So I see you smiling and giggling, Abhijat. We passed the halfway mark in the conversation.
Hmm.
What has been useful for you in this conversation so far?
One thing is that through this conversation so far, that value of integrity has been reinforced. And I can say with double conviction, that is and that will remain a very important value for me, come what may. That is my something which I think has been instilled since childhood, and I have a lot of gratitude towards my elders, my teachers, and this is who I am. And second, when you ask that question about gut, I could feel what exactly is the kind of feel that I get when I listen to my gut. That was a useful part.
So I'm hearing two useful things: reiteration of integrity as a value,
Mm,
and the feeling when I trust my gut and the inner voice. So the remaining 15 minutes that we have,
mm,
Abhijat, if you want to focus on something very specific and take away something very meaningful for you from this session,
Hmm.
what could that be for you?
It would be, I mean, the same. I want to be clear on my approach. In fact, I'll not limit my exploration to this individual, which I started with. Maybe I'll extend the question. What should be my approach to such kind of individuals? And if I start thinking about such individuals, maybe I'll land up with a score with whom I have had some conflict of values in student life, in professional life, even now. Okay, there are some values which are, but there are some core values. If there is some conflict of core values, what should be my approach with these individuals? Is just cutting off, is that the right way, or is there something else? It's very easy to cut off. I'll cut off, but is that the, and I'll be very honest here. The reason why this, because there have been one or two situations, not I'm it's been some years back where I did take this approach. And what happened is that I somehow, then I needed some favor from this individual. So I had to go back, and that individual was very helpful. He really helped me. And then I was questioning myself, am I taking the right approach in just cutting off?
So I'm hearing what should be my approach when there is a conflict in values with
You
someone
know,
else.
sorry to cut you. In fact, as I'm saying this, one thing which is coming up, which probably we can explore further, is maybe I'm getting a feel of a very black and white sort of an approach. Cut, no cut, cut, no cut. Is there some alternate approach or some middle path which I should look at? Because somehow I narrated this incident in the past, and somehow I am also just cutting off. Somehow, even though I understand this is something which is very important for me and something which is core to me in conflict of values, but just cutting off just doesn't seem to be the right solution to me.
Abhijit,
Hmm.
by end of this conversation, how would you know that you're making progress towards this right approach for you, that way that you want to define?
I think I already feel that I'm making progress. This thing is a very is a good. It's fine. Maybe 30-35 minutes are not sufficient to reach a full answer, but this realization, when I say should I cut off, I at that time I got a feeling that maybe I am taking a very black and white approach. So and we know the world is full of shades of gray. So maybe I just need to define what is the gray here and what should be my approach towards this gray. I think that itself is a good progress. And maybe I think further we can further explore it.
So I'm hearing it need not be black and white, it could be shades of gray.
Yes.
And if you're able to identify that shade of gray for yourself,
Hmm.
how would your life change?
I would get clarity. I would not, for example, I meet this person in a coffee shop tomorrow. I'll not have that dilemma in my head, and which becomes evident in my approach. I will know what kind of box to place the individual is in. When I say box, what I mean is that basically all of our old friends, batchmates, there is a certain place that, oh, this person was like this person was like this, certain boxes they are all in. And this person was in a sort of a very high box. But because of this, that has sort of shaken. So I want to place this individual in the right box so that tomorrow I know how to. I don't want to throw the box out altogether.
Putting people in the right box.
Hmm.
So Abhijit, right now, the way that I am gathering, you are in a place of black and white, and you want to go to a place of the shades of gray, the right gray that you want to identify.
Hmm.
For us to go from the black and white to that gray that you are looking for,
Hmm.
what are certain things that you feel that we should focus together so that we can start moving toward that gray that you want to get to?
Hmm. So first, let me think about what exactly is the black and white. Maybe the black part will be cut off. Maybe the white part will be my earlier version of him. Oh, he's a really great guy. This is a guy whom I look up to. That's the white part. So there are some thoughts that are coming up, which when I think of gray, that not everybody is perfect, and there are individuals have their own way of thinking. They have their own way of rationalizing to themselves. I'm sure this individual, what he did, he would have rationalized to himself in some way. I have thought about this also, that he would have rationalized, like, I'm paying the airfare, I'm paying the train fare, I'm going taking the trouble. What's the big deal if I just adjust my fare through this? Funny as it may seem, but these all rationalizations I have. Hmm. Eh, one one individual whom I'm recalling, as I'm thinking about this, and he's a really a very very senior. He was a president, human resource of one of my previous organizations, and a very very mature and a very very, I'll say, spiritual leader, if I can use that word for him. And he is a really a gentleman whom I look up to and whom I aspire to be. Maybe not in terms of his designation, but in terms of his persona, the kind of warmth he used to bring to every conversation. So one thing which I noticed about him is that he never uh, had any sense of enmity towards anyone. There were individuals who were really, I'll say, bad people managers. They had really low scores on the engagement. I mean, all sort of things, that they had some issues with them. But when I see him speaking to this, and I really have this very bad image about this person X. Array, he doesn't deserve to be an HR. He what a But when I find this gentleman speaking to Mr. X, he's speaking with the same love, same warmth, same kind of presence, same persona. And I am amazed as well as I am secretly admiring him. Wow, how does is he able to do that? But at the same time, that individual was very professional. If he's talking to him in this way with full love, but if he feels that because of these bad traits, he will not offer him a role in his organization, if he feels that there is a person job misfit. So probably I am, and of course I need to put more. This is just thought right now. I need to spend more time thinking about it. But maybe what is coming to me is that cutting off is not the right solution. Maybe when I bump across him, I can still maintain the same, like any two old friends who meet. I can still maintain that same, and I can still not only maintain on outward, I can still feel the same for him. I don't know how it will come. That's a separate thing. It's difficult to make that, get that feeling. But if there is a similar situation, at least I will have this in mind that this is something he did previously, so I have to be careful. I will not have the same level of blind trust which I once had.
Abhijat, I noticed a slight change in the way that you are expressing right now from where we started. How are you feeling right now when you're sharing this with me about the same person?
No, I am really feeling something positive within me. And that positivity is coming from the fact of this realization that cutting off is not the answer. And somehow, my default tendency was to sort of cut off. But somehow I had that uncomfortable feeling that cutting off is not the answer. So that is where this is coming from. Yeah.
So, Abhijat, we are running short of time
Hmm.
for like 3 minutes. What have you learned so far in this conversation?
I am very clear. I mean, this my value has been reinforced. I did explore my gut, and I could feel that, as I said earlier. And then this reinforcement, which which is in terms of knowledge, it was already there. Maybe I was not able to bring it in this situation. But this reinforcement and relation to the situation about the shades of gray, and uh, and then this when suddenly during the conversation I pictured that senior leader whom I look up to, and I went back to one of his conversations, and I tried to relate it to my situation. That was a wonderful realization that maybe this is something I can try to think on and build myself on.
Abhijit, we are running short of time. So, what we will do is, if you still further want to explore on this topic,
Mm,
we can connect offline, schedule some time, and have a longer conversation. I really want to appreciate the fact that you put up your hand and brought yourself here while so many other people, more than 40 people, are watching us, to bring a delicate topic and put yourself out there, make yourself vulnerable, and freely share whatever that you want to share without any apprehensions. I really want to appreciate it. We have a minute. Uh, how would you like to take maybe about 30 seconds and summarize the entire conversation and close this conversation for yourself?
so I think I started with the situation, and then of course I started with my feeling of not feeling good at all, and then I explored my values, my guts. Then I wanted clarity on my approach, and then through the discussion, this realization that world is full of shades of gray, and this is an approach which is feeling right, both cognitively as well as emotionally, is feeling the right, looking like the right approach to me. This is my major takeaway, and I would like to first do some independent thinking further on this, and then maybe if I would be request you if we can have a further one-on-one on this.
I wish you all the best on your reflective thinking. And whenever you feel that you need to connect with me. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
And thank you so much for your time and giving me this space to really. And so for some of the questions were really powerful. Thank you so much, Srikanth.
Wish you all the best.